tend to attract me. I get really pumped up. I'm ready to go. Once I step into the circle, it's like everything just comes together. I really get in my zone. When I release the ball, I can tell that it's going to be a really big throw. It's just that feeling. You just know it's right.
Raven's assets is that she's able to really run through the circle. She's able to gain a lot of velocity. She's really strong and determined. I don't believe there's anybody who can outwork her.
Chief Burgess has taken the North Charleston Police Department's community policing efforts to the next level.
We have to stop the violence, increase the peace. To show you that it's all about love here. Started working in law enforcement in 1989, and I wanted to just really help the community that I grew up in, which is North Charleston.
To have to steal food to keep her stomach full. Now, she's raised more than $4.5 million for starving children. This is the evolution of Viola Davis. Long before her Golden Globe, Emmy, Tony, and Academy Award accolades, Viola Davis was starved of everything except talent. Her grandmother delivered Viola into the world in a one-room sharecropper shack on a former plantation in South Carolina in the summer of 1965. The family moved to Rhode Island soon after her birth and into the dilapidated apartment that would house the majority of her childhood memories and later haunt her in adulthood.
It was infested by rats. We would go to bed and hear rats killing the pigeons in the roof.
Between Viola, her parents, and her 5 siblings, the groceries bought with their monthly welfare checks seemed to disappear in the blink of an eye. They frequently went without food or bathing. She landed in detention at school on many occasions because her hunger and shame made her angry and unfocused. It was only after watching Cicely Tyson in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman that Viola fell in love with acting.
Charlestonian Harvey Gantt was one of the Burke High School students arrested during the April 1960 sit-ins on King Street. Later, J. Arthur Brown suggested that the NAACP support Harvey Gantt as the first black student to be proposed for admission to Clemson University. At the time, Gantt attended Iowa State University on a South Carolina state grant, as he could not attend the segregated state university system. On January 28, 1963, he finally entered Clemson. He graduated from Clemson University with honors and
Black History Month moment.
I'm Maureen O'Boyle. Harvey B. Gantt is a man of first. He was the first black student admitted to Clemson University. 20 years later, elected Charlotte's first black mayor. In 2009, the very first museum to open at the Levine Cultural Arts Center was the Harvey B. Gantt Center for African American Arts and Culture.
Athlete Raven Saunders is back in Charleston after coming up just short in medaling in the women's shot put finals. She finished 5th. News 2's Annie Taylor joining us now live from Burke High School, where the city will celebrate Raven coming up from her time in Rio, and they will honor her with a parade as well. Annie, what does the afternoon look like for Raven?
Hey, good morning, Brad. Well, it's a busy afternoon for Raven. We're at her old stomping grounds. This is where her Olympic dreams all began. So like you mentioned, there's going to be a parade. There's also other events on the honorees agenda, but we'll get to those in just a minute. Let's start with a look back at last night when Raven returned home. So it all began at the Charleston International Airport. After a long journey to and from Rio, she finally returned. And that's where friends, family, and people she didn't even know welcomed her back with balloons and, of course, lots of cheering. We were able to speak with Raven about her time in Rio and how she felt she did despite winning the gold.
I'm happy. I wish I could have done more, possibly brought back a medal to Charleston, but I mean, I still did my best, and I got a PR at the Olympic Games my first time around, so I really can't be upset about that one. Amazing. I'm so happy to be back home. It's not even, I don't even have the words.
All right, let's get to the event details. Before the big parade, a news conference.
All I ever wanted was an opportunity to do whatever the Lord has for me to do. Mayor Keith Summey gave me, provided me, laid out for me that opportunity. And I never forgot that. He gave me that opportunity. Now it's on me what I do with that opportunity. So the year didn't go like I wanted to go. I wanted us to have 0 homicides. I wanted to have 0 assaults, 0 burglaries, 0 everything. Everybody live in peace. But this is not a perfect world we live in. And I understand that. Because 1 homicide is too many for me. We had 22 this year, we cut it down. But we could do a whole lot more. We're doing a whole lot more. I've got a lot to give. The officers that work with me have a lot to give. And it's on me as a leader. And I believe if I continue to work hard and show them and be assertive and be vigilant, they'll do the same thing. Because the main goal here of this law enforcement thing that we're in is to serve the community so they can be safe. The entire city of North Charleston is my #1 priority. I love this city. It's my family. You know, it's me. And I'm going to do everything I can to keep it safe.
After attending Rhode Island College on a full scholarship, she was one of 24 actors chosen for a scholarship to the Juilliard School in New York City. She graduated from Juilliard in 1993 and received her first Tony Award nomination only 3 years later.
Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me?
Viola won a Golden Globe and an Oscar for her supporting role. On Peter Nowalk's How to Get Away with Murder, Viola constantly peels back new, fascinating, and often frightening layers of criminal defense lawyer and professor Annalise Keating, shattering the glass ceiling on decades of typecasting of Black women. In 2015, she became the first African-American woman to win a Primetime Emmy for lead actress in a drama series. She used her acceptance speech to acknowledge the lack of complex roles being written for women of color.
And let me tell you something. The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity.
I clearly can answer that it was worth it, because what it did was inspire a lot of people to think, yes, I can do it. And one of those people was somebody like Barack Obama, who said, yes, I can. Yes, we can. And we did. And a lot of other folks who got inspired to get involved in races that they'd never tried before. Even though we didn't win those 2 races in the 90s, we did win because of all the young people who were involved and all the good people who've been elected and inspired by those races.